Robert Frith is our head varsity football coach, a dedicated and revered teacher and mentor, and above all, a cherished husband and father. Ever since he started at SJHHS 7 years ago, Coach Frith has made a tremendous positive impact on the students and student athletes around him. He is loved and respected by so many here at San Juan Hills, myself included. On December 19th, Coach Frith had a close encounter that could have turned out to be tragically fatal, if not for a miraculous coincidence. Coach Frith, what happened on that day?
So it was like just a normal day for me, very excited about starting the winter break. And I decided to head down to San Clemente and play pickleball with some of my friends down there. And we had some great games like any other day, and around an hour and 20 minutes into my time there, I suffered sudden cardiac arrest. And that incident was due to an undiagnosed heart condition that I have that is something that I was born with, and it just quietly progressed over time. And that was the moment when it reared its evil head and affected my life, which is going to be for the rest of my life. I was playing pickleball, and without any signs, symptoms, or anything for me to know about, I just fell straight back on the back of my head, and soon thereafter stopped breathing, and my heart stopped. And I was very fortunate at that time that I had an off-duty firefighter named John Rollins was there, and he, without hesitation, he came immediately to my aid and started CPR chest compressions, along with the help of another retired firefighter and a retired nurse. Those three basically performed CPR and kept me alive, my heart beating, until paramedics could get there and perform more advanced life-saving efforts.
So without John Rollins, you would not be here today?
Yeah, I mean, without a person like John Rollins, who would have, without hesitation, recognized that I didn't have a pulse and I wasn't breathing, and could have performed the proper chest compressions that are needed to keep a person's heart pushing oxygen-rich blood to vital organs. So when I say that, John was the expert that was there. I was very lucky to have an expert there. You could perform CPR, that's one thing, and that's great. But knowing how to perform CPR and knowing exactly what to do and the depth of the chest compressions needed to keep the heart basically beating, that's what his knowledge and his expertise, that's what kept me alive.
Wow. So tell us a bit more of your experience on what you felt when you collapsed. Did you feel anything going on in your heart? Tell us about that.
Yeah, what's really scary about sudden cardiac arrest is you don't feel anything. You don't feel any pain. You don't really feel lightheaded, or there wasn't any acute type of signs that gave me the realization that I was in any kind of trouble.
So you had no clue, like nothing you had going on?
No, not even to the point where I could even brace my fall. I fell straight back on the back of my head from a standing position.
And you didn't feel it then?
Nope.
You were like completely unconscious?
The next thing I remember, I was waking up in an ambulance after the paramedics were able to get the final shock from the AED machine.
That's what
brought my heart back into its normal rhythm. And when that happened, because I was so well taken care of in the time when my heart was in VTAC, that because I was so well taken care of through CPR, I was able to come to, right? Be conscious again when the AED machine finally, the shock worked, and I was having conversations with the paramedics in the ambulance, which is more rare than this heart condition that I have.
So pretty much you technically died for a bit.
Yeah, I would. That's what the paramedic told me in the ambulance. Like when I woke up and I realized I was in the ambulance, I knew something bad had happened. Otherwise, I wouldn't be there.
Right.
And so when I looked at the paramedic, and I was even at a point where I was kind of joking around a little bit. I'm like, what happened here? Like, what am I doing here? How did I mess up?
You didn't even feel a thing.
No, I felt
You
nothing.
had no clue what went on. You just got unconscious and you like woke
I
up.
woke up and I looked at him and I'm like, what the heck happened to me? And he's like, you died. And I was just in shock. And then he started explaining things a little bit. My memory's a little vague, but I do remember a couple things. Yeah, a couple things in the ambulance. We had a conversation, and then they had to get back to work, making sure that my heart was going to be stable, my breathing was going to be stable, that I didn't go back into any kind of like tachycardia or anything like that.
Right.
They wanted to make sure that I was good. And so I just, to be honest with you, I think I probably went back out. They probably put me back under. And then the next thing I know, I'm at Mission Hospital, and I'm in the ICU at Mission Hospital, and they're just running tests and just taking care of me.
Now, how long were you down for exactly? Do you know?
Good question. So my understanding is it took about 8 minutes for the paramedics to arrive on site. So the first responders that were there with me were performing CPR for approximately 9-10 minutes before the paramedics got there. Then the paramedics were there, and I want to say there was probably another maybe 10 minutes before I was done with this incident, and my heart was back to normal rhythm.
So it was a really small window for everything that happened to have happened.
Yeah, it was a small window for sure. I mean, 20 minutes goes by really quick. But 20 minutes of chest compressions certainly does have an effect on your ribs and your sternum and all that. So it's a long time to be performing chest compressions to try to keep a person alive. For me, I don't, a lot of times people will go through these near-death experiences, and they have a story to tell as they were going through it. I don't have a story in terms of what I went through while I was going through this this near-death experience, because I was unconscious.
Right, it was like being asleep.
It was like being asleep. And and the times that I woke up, it wasn't too uncomfortable. There was a couple of times where a neck brace on, or they had to drill into my leg, some stabilizing a hormone just to kind of keep my heart rate down and my adrenaline down. So those things I felt a little bit, but they were taking care of me. They were making sure that I was comfortable as I was going through this. So I was very lucky in the sense that the pain of a near-death experience wasn't something that I went through. It was more psychological, I think, than anything, because of the thought of not being able to be here. You mentioned, a husband, a father, a teacher, a coach, a son, a friend. Like, it's more about just relationships and how close I was to no longer being, alive. That's the part where I just, I still think about it every day, and that gives me a lot of humility and gratitude. Definitely, to be alive,
Coach. But we're so happy you're here. We all are, honestly.
Thanks.
And how did your family experience? Like, what was going on with them from their perspective when all this happened?
My family, extremely strong and brave. So I know quite a few people around the area where I was when it happened. And, I'm a 30-year San Clemente resident. My wife was, raised in San Clemente. Our families, both have family in San Clemente. So when this went down, there were some people that knew me and knew my wife. And so they called her immediately. My wife, as she was getting this information, she gave the phone to my son, Luke, like I said, who was just he's like a little soldier. He was brave. He took in the information. He shared it with his mom, and my family and my daughter they all came down to the hospital as soon as possible, and they were just there waiting to hear word on their dad, and they were with me every step of the way. My wife is an amazing human being. I didn't realize that she was such a great nurse. She's a really good nurse, keeping me in my lane in terms of the things that I need to do since this has happened. And again, my kids are phenomenal the whole time. My family they were great.
Yeah, it's so great having people you love, your family who you can rely on.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's definitely brought our family closer together as well. Through this, a lot of times through a bit of a tragic situation. It could have been a lot worse.
Oh,
but yeah,
definitely.
it sure does. It sure does make you remember and love the small thing, the family, basic, very basic, you know. And so we're certainly, I feel even closer as a family, you know, through this situation.
Now, so how would you say that this whole experience has sort of changed you and your outlook? Has it established any clarity in your life? How has it affected you? You know, you're now, what, a month after all of this happened. Where are you at now, Coach?
So that's a good question. And a lot of people ask me that question. And for me, it's given me clarity in terms of wanting to serve the best way I can. Like I want to help other people. Like my transformational style of teaching and coaching and just being a good friend, it's about building relationships. It's about taking care of people, you know, and staying humble, and as much as I can serve my purpose here, you know, like on earth or at San Juan Hills or my personal life, I get the opportunity to go out there and do what I can to make other people's lives better. And that is given, that I'm more clear on that than ever before. You know, my impact is going to be on the stories that people tell about me when I'm gone. And not about, you know, success on the football field as a coach or these other things that are transactional. I just want it to be about the impact that I can have on people. Students, athletes, anybody that I come into contact with. That part has been very clear. And so I'm going to focus on the positive things in life. And I'm going to help those if they need help or want help, and the ones that, you know, don't feel like that's needed, then that's fine too. They're on their own, you know. But I'm certainly here to serve the best way I can because I feel like that's my purpose. And that's why I was saved, you know, for a purpose. And so I'm going to keep doing this until I get signs from the man above that maybe there's something else I should be doing. Yeah. But we'll see. I think I'm very, very happy and blessed to be in the position I am each and every day, my personal life, and then here also, you know, in my work life. It's an extension of my family as well.
Yeah, I feel the same way, Coach. You know, having you here has been such, treasure. You've done so much, you know, for everyone, you know, on your team, even people not on the football team like myself. You know, it's just been so, you know, incredible getting to know you and keep getting to know you because you're still with us. So
yeah.
That is just so incredible. Now, I want to talk a bit more about what, you know, just for a little bit on what if things did take a turn for the worse? What if John Rowlands wasn't there and you had passed? Do you feel, you know, you are at, you know, a relatively young age, but even with that, you've done so many accomplishments, especially in, as you said, you know, the relationships you've made and the impact that you've made and everyone that you've known. Do you feel that if, right now, let's just say, you were to go, right, you know, called from above, if you died today, or if you died then, do you feel like you fulfilled? Like, do you feel fulfilled, or do you feel like there's still more regrets that you haven't made the most of?
Yeah. I think that for me, it's a tough question to answer because while you're here, even before this, I did try to make other people's lives better. I wanted to have a positive impact on people's lives and take my transformational style of teaching and coaching, you know, and just continue to spread that, you know, make people happy, make people comfortable. I think at 48 years old, I got more to give. I got more to do, you know, and so they say that coaches have an opportunity to make an impact on the lives of like hundreds of thousands of people, not always directly, indirectly as well, just by teaching people to be good people and how they can go in and then, you know, pay it forward. So for me, if I wasn't here, I sure hope that I did a good job while I was here and would be remembered by those that I came into contact with for being a good person and making a positive impact on their life, right? You don't get to choose, you know, when the man above calls your name to heaven. So because that didn't happen, now I know that I have more to give and more to do. So I got to get busy, you know. Right. I got to get busy and I got to stay on it. And you know, because life is so precious and you never have enough time. For me, it's as much as I can do to continue to help people for the remainder of my life, however long it'll be. I'm very focused on that. And so, unfulfilled, I probably would have said yes, because 48 years that's just not enough, in my opinion. So, but yeah, here I am.
Yes. Wow. That was really deep. Anyways, so I was just thinking, sometimes usually when I talk to people, I kind of like try and like think of the next question. But I was just so like involved in what you were saying.
That's good. Yeah. Well, it's from the heart.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that's really what it's all about.
Yeah. I'm just talking to you. This is like your question. When I think of the question, I think like, okay, like what, yeah, Shane, like this is exactly how I feel. Not necessarily for the cameras, like whatever, but this is just like this is how it is. Yeah. So yeah, I again, it's like, oh man, it was almost taken away from me. Right. So the fact that it was almost taken away, it gives you a sense of like, oh man, like anything. When you almost lose something, it makes you go, all right, let's button up a little bit. If there's little aspects that need to be buttoned up, whether it's appreciation, not thinking negatively sometimes. Sometimes negative thoughts can come in our heads and all that. What a time waster. What a complete waste of time. And you can put this stuff in the interview if you want to, but the negative things that go out there, I want to free myself from negative talk. I want to free myself from anybody around me that isn't going to be positive. And if there's a situation that doesn't look great, don't complain. Come up with solutions as well. So almost like that whole philosophy of life is good. Life is good. Let's make it better. It can be great, and let's do that together. So that's another part of this whole thing where I'm not going to spend any time focusing on negative aspects of things that people bring to me. If there's an issue, let's fix it so that we can be positive again. We got little obstacles here and there, but you know what? We can get through it together. Just stay humble and, like I said, like serve. How can we serve and help, especially young people like yourself? How can we help them get through these adolescent years that can be so tough and so stressful? How can we be the ones that like get them through that hour, get them through that day, And so for me, it's like, all right, I don't have all the answers either. I would never sit here and say, I know exactly what to do. I have no idea. I only know.
I don't think anybody does.
Right. But sometimes people think that they're the experts of things, and they're not. I only know what I'm going to try to do, and I will continue to learn and evolve as a mentor, as a coach, based on things I think will work better. I'm totally willing to drop one habit and start something else if I see it as a better way to help people.
Yes, I think that is such a powerful philosophy, Coach.
Yeah, thanks.
Now, I want to talk a bit more about. See, most people come prepared with questions. I kind of just come up with it on the fly.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's more organic because honestly, as you said, it's more of a conversation.
Ask me a question, just like you normally would.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
Ask me questions
pretty
all the
much
time.
like a lot of the questions are like stuff I already asked you.
Even think in your head, something comes up, you're like, Coach, what do you think? I'm like, yeah, let's go. Let's just have a conversation. Yeah. It's great.
Yeah, I think I know what I was going to say. What would you say you value most now? And going through what happened on the 19th, in December, how do you feel that changed or amplified it? Tell us a bit more about that.
What I value most is going to be, number one, like relationships. Yeah. And showing gratitude to people that I feel are, deserving. Like I want to make sure that people understand how valuable they are. And so to go out of my way to help, like as much as I can, whether it's educate or remind people that they're awesome. People are awesome, and the interests that people have and their habits and things that they can do, these things can help other people too. So like everybody has value, and I want everybody to understand that. Like everybody has value, and so as much as I can just like pick people up and just remind them how awesome they are. Trying to do a little bit more of that and not just take for granted that people already know that or that everybody's okay, because not everybody's okay. Right. And so it's that whole thing, like just like being kind and just giving as much as I can to people. Just like being there for them, and just like even if it's just a positive aura or something like that.
Like, just be a friend.
They can just understand. Yeah, they have a safe place with me, and a person that they can like talk to and feel comfortable and just be themselves, and not have to worry about being judged or anything like that. Now I will tell people, like, especially in football, like, here are standards. We have standards. You have to meet these standards. If you don't meet these standards, you have to understand you're in competition, just like life.
Right.
But at the end of the day, like, I'm here for young people to help guide them and answer questions that they may have if they have questions for me. Yeah, so that's been something that, again, I think about a lot, is just that whole piece of being able to give and be gracious.
Right, because even though, as you said, you don't have all the answers, right? You still have experience, a good chunk life worth of experience, and so being able to use that wisdom, that you've accrued to help our generation, right, the next generation, has been just so valuable, honestly.
Yeah, I think connection is so important, and I can't always connect with people because there's things that, the older I get, I feel like sometimes there's the less connection I have with young people because technology changes and vocabulary changes, and things change, and oh yeah. So, but at the end of the day, I do my best, and again, I just want kids to understand. If we're talking about classroom, just kids to understand that, like, there's people like me that are here to try to make their day a little bit easier, a little bit better. Because like I say, it can be a little tough sometimes.
Do you think you've been successful?
Yeah, I guess it depends on who you ask. Some people will say yeah, for sure. Some people may say no, based on maybe it could be a difficult experience they had, whether it be like through sports or something like that. When you're a head football coach, you're not always loved by everybody, and I get that. Like, it's kind of what I signed up for. But I would say that, like, generally speaking, I'm hopeful that most people would say that I do it for the right reason, that I'm not negative with people. I'm not a transactional coach, that the value of people is what they can do for me. Like, I don't think like that. It's got to be about other people. It always needs to be about other people. And that if the sooner people understand that life is about others, like, we got to take care of ourselves, I get it, but as soon as they can understand, like, life is about other people and what you can do for other people brings you true joy in your life, then they're getting life figured out. Right. And sometimes it takes you a while.
Definitely, like, one of the best things you can do is to love other people, have
100%.
a genuine affection, for those around us. I think you crazy exemplify that.
Yeah, and one of the things that I've really realized through this experience is I have received overwhelming love from people. It could be folks that, like, friends that I've had when I was growing up that I haven't talked to in years. It could be teammates of mine in high school and college. It can be coaches that I've coached with through my career, as a high school football coach, a baseball coach, or it just depends on the year. But through this experience, I've been overwhelmed by the love that other people have shown me. So when that's happening, you have to turn around and you got to do what you can to also show love, and and that's for other people, because it has made a huge impact on my life in the last month. So, like, when I'm inspired by that. So now it's like, all right, like, it's you got to keep it going.
So how does it feel, after all these years, for most people it could be their entire time in high school, just kind of pouring yourself, right, everything you have into the school, into this community. How does it feel, now kind of like your time of need, per se, of having everyone kind of rally behind you and to be there to support you? How do you feel kind of them returning what you've, reaping what you've sowed?
Yeah, in a good way, I feel like I have a debt to pay. Like, I'll never be able, the words will never allow me to express my gratitude to other people that have been here in this time. And so the only thing I can do is do the best job I can to help others the way that others have helped me. So I have never loved our stallion community more than I do now, especially after I went through. Sometimes you don't really understand the impact that you're having on people until something happens, and then they remind you. You get the day in and day out stuff. It's all great, but I've had some people reach out to me and say some things that I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, I would have never. And it was obviously positive. that I could have never even like imagined. And so I think that's the true measure of an individual, you know, a teacher, a coach, even a friend. It's about people taking care of you, you know. And I always tell people, you know you're doing good as a coach, not about how many banners you hang up, but about how many weddings you get invited to, and how many birth announcements you receive from your former students and players. Because if you're really making a positive impact in their lives, they're going to remember it when they're an adult, and they're going to find a way to reach out to you, whether it's like through Instagram or something like that, or through somebody else, even like Facebook, all these different platforms, they find you, you know. And again, for me, it's been really, really inspiring. You know, I've for 48 years now, I just turned 49. My life has been a blessing, you know, and the people that are around that I've been able to coach and teach with and work with, like, that's been a blessing. I've been in really good places with really good people. And so now I need to match, you know, I need to match those individuals. So I'm inspired. So if you ask me, how do you feel? I feel like I've got some work to do. I feel energized, and I feel like I have a little bit of a debt to pay in terms of, like, again, showing my love and support to others, you know, as much as I can.
What would you say, you said you received so much, blessings, even leading up, in past years and especially now. What would you say you're most thankful to have?
Family, first and foremost, family. I'm thankful for, the way that my family rallied around me, and a lot of people's families would rally around them as well. But, that's the most important thing, is family. The second most inspiring part of this whole thing for me was my football family. I had players texting me when I was in the hospital through, various huddle platforms or whatever, reaching out to me and just showing love. I had football parents in this program, unbelievable support, dropping things off at our doorstep, maybe a fresh made meal or a meal like the Stallion football community is just unbelievable. Then it goes into our Stallion community on campus with teachers, our wonderful admin team. Again, just kind of, it all starts back with family, that's been the biggest part of this for me. So it's good.
And now let's, what can we expect coming out of you in the future, Coach?
Well, again, like I mentioned earlier, I don't have all the answers moving forward. So for me, I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing. I'll continue to do it to the best of my ability. I'm going to try to do a better job. I'll find ways to do a better job of building relationships, mentoring young people, helping them with life lessons, giving them advice when they want it. But I'm looking for signs, that I'm doing, what I should be doing on earth, so what I want to do, number one, I want to get back to normal life, right? Normal life, normal activity. I'm enjoying life. And then expect me to probably be a better version of myself than I was before, as much as I can. What is it that I can do? I think about these just like little habits here or there, like I said, or little thoughts that go through your head, and continuing to just focus on the positive aspects of life, becoming a better coach, a better teacher, a better human being. That's what you'll expect out of me, 100%.
So would you say then that this experience has sort of empowered you to want to rise above, and to be the best you can be? Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah. Well, when you have life almost taken away from you, and you get this second chance, you realize that there's a lot of things in life that you can focus on that are negative that aren't even that bad, or they're not even worth your time. So stressors in life, are they the ones that are controllable versus the ones that are not controllable? A lot of times, like, stressors that are not controllable have to do with just people. Sometimes people just want to be like negative at times or complain about things. So for me, I don't have time to listen to complaining people or complain. I got mentioned before.
You block it out.
Well, or like if you have a complaint, like, how are we gonna fix it? Like, what's the solution? Because it's easy to complain about things. It's harder to fix things. So like that for me is, and maybe that'll be a rough conversation for some people to hear also when they're talking like about certain things. It's like, hey, look, we're gonna be positive. Let's fix it. You don't like it? How you gonna fix it? You know, is it fixable? Do you need to put yourself in a different situation or a different climate? You know, and just cut to the chase here, because if we can eliminate negative thinking, negative thoughts, and negative people from our lives, life is much better. You know, so that's kind of how I feel about that.
Yes. And now, you know, Coach Frith, some people feel that there are lessons, you know, that every experience can act as lessons. So would you feel that this applies to you? Have you learned anything from this? Have you made any kind of takeaways from everything that's gone on throughout these last few months?
Yeah, I think we've probably talked about that a little bit, about my philosophy of life, you know, moving forward, you know, wanting to be the healthiest, best version of myself. And that's good. Like, it's a good project to have, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. You know, that part's good. Like I feel that through this experience, it allows me to be a better person in all aspects of health. And that's going to also reflect on how I'm treating other people and how, you know, I'm dealing with other people in the various aspects of my life. If I'm feeling good and I know that I'm living life with a purpose, and it's clear, then you have the motivation to, you know, to live that purpose-driven life. And so that's how I feel like the biggest thing, like taking away from this experience, is I think it allows me to be a better version of myself.
So what message do you have for students kind of after going through all of this? What do you want students and everyone here at San Juan Hills to know?
Yeah, a couple things. You know, number one, life is hard, you know, but that's okay. Like, life is hard, it's supposed to be hard. Adolescence years are hard. You know, students are trying to find a sense of identity. They're trying to, you know, meet the quota of getting good grades, getting to class, and do all these things. Like, life is hard, but you can get through it. You know, with you have positive mentors around you that help you out, you can get through those adolescent years. Okay, so first and foremost, like, everyone just take a deep breath, you know, and, you know, manage your time well and think positively, and let's just get through the day. The second thing is that there are students, I'm sure, on this campus that have witnessed or been a part of a situation where somebody needed life-saving efforts. The one in my situation, CPR was what saved my life. This can happen to anybody. It can happen to a student, a teacher, a coach, a parent, you know, someone at the grocery store. You know, we all can be heroes. Heroes don't always wear capes, right? We all could be a hero when you're put in a situation where you're needed by somebody else. In this situation, for people to understand what CPR is, especially the chest compressions part of it, because that's what most people need, and how to do this and be confident in doing that. I think that everybody has the opportunity to be a hero to someone else. So if students would take interest, and I never thought about this before, Shane, really, right? But if students would take interest in something so simple as life-saving chest compression, like be experts in technique, they might be able to save their parent. They might be able to save their brother or sister or aunt or uncle or grandma or grandpa, because sudden cardiac arrest happens in our society. It's just that people don't even know what to do. Right. So what ends up happening in life situations, everybody starts looking around at each other. So in my situation, they didn't look at each other. Like, they looked at me, and it was act now. So if students on this campus or administration, teachers, if everybody were to, you know, take some time and to feel confident in their abilities to perform life-saving, you know, the CPR life-saving efforts. If somebody does go down, 'cause it's going to happen to everybody. We're all going to be in a situation where we see somebody needing CPR. If you are the expert and you are not the one that hesitates and you get after it right away, you're that hero for that day, and you would be the one who's remembered for saving someone's life. It's not hard. It's just that we just don't think we're going to need it. We don't think it's ever going to happen to us or any of our loved ones. So that's kind of like that's my sermon on the mountain when it comes to like, that question.
Yeah, because there's so much incredible power of CPR, right? I know it's saved thousands, I think tens of thousands of lives every year. That's just every year. I don't know how much that would be in total. So what would you say to students who, upon hearing how CPR saved you, because you're a walking, talking, living testament of the power, life-saving power of CPR. So what message do you have for students? What should students do if they want to become more knowledgeable and be able to do CPR?
It's pretty easy, I mean, I don't just say go to YouTube, but I know that there are proper YouTube resources that will talk about how this is done correctly. So at least the first thing is like awareness. Oh, this is what it is. And so if you were to go to like the American Heart Association, American Red Cross, and look for reputable, resources, anybody can get a decent understanding of what CPR is, the depth of the compression, the rhythm of the compression. You can go and you can at least have an understanding. So you're not just sitting there with your hands in your pocket when something like this happens. If you want to have more depth of knowledge, then there are courses that are available, same websites, and people can sign up for courses. I've had some folks say that they want to go as a family and go get certified for CPR first aid and AED training. Those resources are out there just waiting for customers, waiting for people to want to be a part of it. So that's it. You have to be proactive. And then, like me, you have to be an advocate. So when something happens, you be an advocate, and then you help other people to like guide them. If this is something you want to do, then it's out there, And all the coaches on our campus are required to be CPR first aid and AED certified. Teachers are not, but teachers are in the classroom with hundreds of kids. Some teachers have 5, 6 classes, full classes, hundreds of kids. So for teachers, we should all have a good understanding of that too, because if a kid goes down, you can get to the phone, you can call the nurse, you can call people to come and help that student. But only 4 minutes of your brain not getting oxygen, things really start to become complicated in terms of brain dead, strokes, So 4 minutes. So we talk about me, I was doing CPR for 20 minutes. If I was on my own for 4 minutes, I might not be here talking to you. I might still be in the ICU or something like that. They kept me in the best possible condition for recovery because I didn't have any time when there wasn't blood being pushed to my brain through CPR. 4 minutes can go by. People hold their breath underwater 4 minutes, no problem. That's it. That's all the time you get. And then, like I said, things become complicated in terms of recovery, even if you do recover and live.
So, Coach Frith, is there anything that we're hoping to do here at San Juan Hills regarding CPR? Are there any resources right now?
There are some folks out exploring some potential opportunities to bring some services potential on this campus to bring awareness in the teachings of CPR and first aid.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that. We're hoping to get something done here at San Juan Hills relatively soon, so keep an ear out for that. So what have you and your medical team have done to ensure that nothing like this happens to you again, that you don't have cardiac arrest again?
Yeah, so there are some layers in place for me to make sure that this doesn't happen again. Two major are that I take a daily dose of medication, we'll call it heart medication, that keeps my heart from going into what it went into before, VFib. The other thing is they actually implanted a device in my side here that is like an AED machine. So I have a 24-hour paramedic with me. If something like that were to happen or begin to happen, the device is regulating my heart. I have basically like the leads, which are wires that are under my skin that sit on my breastplate. And if my heart starts to increase to a point where it's close to VFib, stopping basically, or like my heart never stopped. It just had no rhythm. It just fluttered. That won't happen again. Like if it starts to look like it's going to happen, it's going to shock me and it's going to put my heart back in its lane into a normal rhythm. Some people have AFib that live with it, and if it doesn't go away on its own, they put them under and they give them a little shock to get the rhythm back, and that's what would happen to me. But this device is always with me, so I feel pretty safe. To be honest with you, I'm safer right now than a lot of people on this campus because I know exactly what's wrong with me in my heart, and I have the medication to deal with it, and I have a machine, a device in my body that's not going to let me go into cardiac arrest again.
Right, because you have nothing else going on with your heart. That's pretty much
No,
the only
yeah,
thing.
it's all
right,
electrical.
You have a clean bill of health, except for that.
My heart, they told me that my heart is that of a teenager, like you, Shane.
Oh, wow.
My arteries are
It's
clean.
pretty incredible, especially at that age.
I know, for being an old guy, right? My arteries are clean. I have a very low blood pressure, very low resting heart rate. I am good. My issue has nothing to do with plumbing. It has to do with electrical.
I see.
And so this is why.
So you pretty much got that covered now. Right?
Got it covered. Yeah. We changed the fuse in the box, and now we're good to go.
Nice. So it's pretty much you have two layers of defense, right? You have the medication to prevent your heart, the electrical from not functioning.
Yeah.
But even if that does happen, you have the ICD to ensure that it doesn't have any effect.
Yeah. I'm Iron Man. The other thing is that there are certain things like lifestyle decisions that you make. Then this is just heart healthy lifestyle. So just certain things like diet, exercise, stress reducers, things like that they talk about common sense. Where for me, it needs to be a little bit more at the forefront of my mind because I don't need anything going on with my heart that would add to the heart defect that I already have, right? So live a clean life.
So let's see, is there anything else you wanted to say before we go?
No, I don't think so. I will say this. I appreciate you, Shane, coming to me with these great ideas over the years. And then, us being able to do this today, sit down and have this conversation, and then to be able to bring awareness to our campus, because they always say, if this can help one person,
it's worth
that helps save the life of someone else. Shane, like you and I just sitting here in the high school classroom doing this for this high school, whether it's a teacher or a student or someone, if they go out and they develop the skill set to be able to save a life like this, brother, we did good.
Oh, yeah. We'll be able to do incredible service.
We did good.
To everyone here.
Yeah, we did good, and we paid it forward.
Which is what you're all about.
That's it. Yep.
Same with me. Well, thank you. Thank you so much again, Coach Frith. Thank you for being with us, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. And I look forward to seeing what you come up with next.
Let's go.
All right,
yeah,
have a great
thank you,
day,
Shane.
sir.
Appreciate it, buddy.